Hey guys, this is going to be a quick little overview slash review of some of the parts that I'm putting in on my current AR build. This video is only going to cover the parts in my lower because I'm still waiting on a few parts for my upper, so I'll make another video when the time comes for that. Alright, the first part I want to talk about is my lower receiver. This is a New Frontier Armory Billet 80%. I believe it's their C4 line. I went with this over a mil-spec just because I already have a mil-spec AR and I wanted to try something that looks a little bit different. And you could tell by the pocket along the sides and this little step down, it's not a mil-spec. It looks a bit nicer. A few of the things I like about this are the front of the mag well. That shape, it fits really well in your hand if that's how you like to grip the gun. It replaces your bolt catch roll pin with a set screw, which I know a lot of people have issues when installing that. They wind up marring up the receiver and it takes away from the overall look of it. So they went with that. They decided to go with that instead. Another thing is it has an adjustable screw in the bottom here under your pistol grip that rises up and gives you a better lockup on your upper receiver, so it improves your accuracy, or it has the potential of improving your accuracy. A few things that I'm not too crazy about is that the machining could be better. You can see there's a bunch of tool marks still along the side there. There's a couple of the holes. The hole in the counterboard don't quite line up. It's not too big of a deal, but if you have some kind of pins that are oversized, it might give you problems. Besides that, I'm overall a fan of it. One other thing that I'm not too crazy about that I don't know if they thought of, they replaced the, rather than having to cover this spring and detent with the end plate right there, they wound up putting a set screw in. But when they do that, when you tighten down that set screw, it winds up binding up your spring, and it actually makes it a bit more crunchy trying to take out your takedown lever, or your takedown pin, sorry. Not too big of a deal, but I'm probably going to wind up taking that out and just leaving it as the end plate covering it. But again, it's not that big of a deal. The next part I was going to talk about is my stock. I currently have a Magpul MOE stock, which I'm a big fan of. It's a good stock for the price. And this one is the Battle Link Minimalist. It's a little bit more expensive, but it has a much tighter lockup on your buffer tube, and I like the feel of it a lot better. The plastic's nowhere near Magpul plastic. I don't think anything is. But a lot of people have given this stock some bad reviews because it's not a snag-free design. It's essentially a big hook that has potential of hooking on your gear when you need to get into firing position. But I don't usually wear too much gear when I'm shooting, so it's not that big a deal for me. One thing I do really love about this stock is this little chamfered corner right there. You can see it's not going along flat there. It rolls really well into your shoulder from a ready position, and it gets you on target really fast. Another thing, it has a QD sling mount point right there. And if you wanted to, you can buy a better cheek well. It can slip into the little grooves on the side there. Although the cheek well is already better than the MOE in my opinion. All in all, great stock so far. Next thing is my pistol grip. I'm currently using the Magpul MOE Plus on my current AR, but I'm not too big of a fan of the grip. I live out in Southern California and it gets hot during summer, and the rubberized texture of the MOE Plus on sweaty hands, it doesn't feel very good. So I went with the Myad grip this time. Rather than a rubbery finish, it's a plastic finish. Another reason I went with the Myad is I wanted to try some different grip sizes, and this has different adjustable back straps and adjustable front faces where your fingers ride. I currently have it set up on the flat front face and the middle back strap, and so far I'm liking it quite a bit. The next parts I'm going to talk about are my Battle Arms development hardware. I have the enhanced pin set and the ambidextrous safety select. The pin set was actually a gift to me. I did not plan on buying it. I don't really see the benefit in this over a standard pin set for the price. I believe this is like $30 or $35, whereas your standard pin set's probably like $5 or $10. Although I have heard that the installation of this is incredibly easier than your standard pin set. If you've ever built an AR before, you'll understand what I mean by the front takedown pin is a bit tricky to get that detent under there. And I guess they give you a magnet, and there's a way of hooking up the detent to the magnet, which makes it a lot easier on installing that front takedown pin. So I'm kind of excited to see how that works. I'll try to make a video, or at least point it out when I do the build of this. The other one is the ambidextrous safety select. I got to use one of these on a friend of mine's AR and fell in love with it. I am a left-handed shooter, so I prefer to have a ambidextrous safety select. I currently use the Stag Ambi Safety Select, and it's nothing special. It's worked perfectly fine for me, but it's nothing special. Whereas this is significantly smoother. It comes with its own spring and detent. I don't know if you can really see it in there or not. But also the levers have different sizes. You can take both of these out and adjust them, swap them, and there's also kits that you can pick up that you can make it completely custom to your hand, whether you want a thinner grip or a longer grip or whatever the case is. They'll probably have something that suits it. Love this product and highly recommend it. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the Phase 5 Tactical EBR V2, which is the extended bolt release version 2. It's pretty much the same thing as a Magpul bad lever, but it's all one piece rather than having to bolt onto your current your bolt release. I don't really see an issue with the bad lever. I've been using mine for a year plus now and have not had any issues with it, but I am a fan of the skeletonized look here. Another thing I noticed about this is that it seems like it's a bit smaller on your receiver, which is not a bad thing in my opinion. It just barely clears there, but it's just enough room to actually operate perfectly fine. So you're not going to have any issues with that, or at least you shouldn't. And yeah, I'm a big fan of that. And it does come with another roll pin if you wind up needing it. I shouldn't need one for this receiver because it has this a set screw in there, but it's good to know that it's there if you do need it. Next thing is my trigger. I was intending on going with the Geissele 2-stage trigger, but when I was doing some research on Geissele, I ran across this company, ALG Defense. It's actually run by the wife of Geissele's CEO, so it has a lot of the same quality control, and they're held to the same standards. What's special about this trigger is that it's just your normal mil-spec trigger. They take the same blanks and they pretty much just polish it incredibly well, and they do different coatings on it. So this is a nickel boron on the trigger and nickel Teflon, I believe, on the disconnect and hammer. And now what those two coats do to each other is they act like a natural lubricant almost, so it keeps your trigger running incredibly smooth even without lubrication. Comparing this to a mil-spec, it's a lot smoother than a mil-spec, but it does seem a little bit heavier. I haven't actually pulled the weight of either of them, so I can't confirm, but it does seem quite a bit smoother, and I'm starting to like it. The next part is the JP Enterprise Silent Captured Buffer Spring. This replaces your standard buffer, your standard buffer and buffer spring, and puts it into a captured spring. What it does is it gets rid of all that rattle and springy noise when the gun's cycling, so it quiets it down quite a bit. When I pull that back, you'll notice that it has that rod going through it, and it looks weird, but it's designed to do that. Your bolt carrier will actually ride right over the top of that, and you'll never run into any issues. If you're running a different gas system, you'll probably have to buy a different spring for this. They have a spring kit online for like 25 bucks. I found this at Brownells, and they had the spring kit there as well, but I'm sure it's through Midway or Cheaper Than Dirt or whatever website you usually use. The package also comes with a little plastic piece in case you're running a rifle length buffer tube. You can just drop that in before you drop in your captured spring, and you won't run into any issues. Besides that, all I really have is just some miscellaneous hardware that I picked up online to finish the build. And yeah, I should be finishing this up within the next couple weeks, so stay tuned for a video. I'll try to get one going for that. I would like to get this engraved and then sandblasted and cerakoted, and I should be able to do everything but the engraving at home, so I'll try to make some videos for that as well. So stay tuned, and thanks. See you guys.